Yes and no. Yes and no. That's what my answer would be if anybody asked if I ever knew Dan Curlock. Yes, for the years we spent together when we were younger. Dan was there for the finest years of my life. He was my best friend. It's the closest thing I ever had to a better half. But no. No, because of the shit that came in the later years. Because of what Dan's life turned him into. Life stripped Dan's skin away like the bark of an elm tree, exposing what wasn't there beneath it. The grace by which one fails in life is what defines them when they're gone. I think Dan believed that. We aren't beautiful or dignified or whole by the time we die. We don't take the best part of us into the grave. Your worth comes down to the last few minutes, weeks, years of your existence. And a person can atone for a lot with the way their life ends. That's why I knew Dan had to be set free. That's why I knew I had to be the one to kill him.
Hello?
Hey,
Where are you?
I'm almost there.
This is bullshit. I don't give a fuck how you're trying to justify it, but leaving a goddamn note and just... You don't want to take responsibility for your actions or your life, that's fine. I'm past playing this game. Running away isn't gonna solve a goddamn thing.
Did you get the other note?
I said I'm not playing this fucking game.
I need you to go to the desk and reach under the drawer. It's taped up under there. Just read it. Please. I'm gonna call you at read point.
Why are you...
You can see it for what seems like 1,000 miles in every direction out here. Your mind starts to go with it a little bit. You start thinking about where you've been, where you're going, and every song that carves itself through the air becomes like some goddamn spiritual experience. It's got a gospel meaning in the lyrics. You can find Christ just as easily in the words of Hank Williams as you can Otis Redding. And you start to think. Little flashbulb pops, the math of the road. 32 miles to Reed Point, 17 to Great Cliff, maybe Billings by morning. Straight shot to the end. The pistol sitting in the glove box with the box of shells. How it'll only take one when the time comes. Hello?
I'm here.
Did you read it?
Why the fuck are you calling me?
Because I love you.
It's just over. I called the cops.
They aren't gonna have time to stop me. I'm almost here.
You seriously think this is gonna change anything? Are you that far gone?
It'll be enough for me.
For you. Of course. That's what it's all about, right? If you do this, you do it alone. They're going to cart you off, and I'm not going to be there. I fucking absolve myself of it.
I've been alone. Dan always had a plan. It was one of those things that endeared him to everybody. How it was so easy to piss away the hours behind the local liquor shop. He was like a benevolent god at age 17. He looked down on everybody, talk about road trips to the coast, and I've been told by a lot of people. And he was dragged that part out, like, a lot. How his music was gonna change some lives. How he could do anything. How he had a dozen keys to unlock the gold ring of the future. It was all hanging from that brass ring of dumb youth. And everybody believed him. It believed in him. He had this metal in his eyes and this sureness in his voice, and when Dan said he wasn't gonna forget his friends no matter how fucking big he got, it was like word being handed down off the mount. Dan could have been anything. Nobody ever questioned that. It wasn't until years later they realized this much. The only way any of us are gonna truly live on is through memories. In memories, you're always young and the sun's always coming up fast. Dan tried to live in the past, but all it did was consume his present. And that's how I justify it. Dad killed himself off a long time ago before I ever realized what it was that I had to do. And by now, it's more about mercy than murder. Dad loved this town, just like it loved him. Even after years that eroded them both, weathering skin and concrete and paint and hope and confidence and soil, they stuck by each other. Dan loved Fallon because it took the disgraces of his age in stride, and it remained constant. And he loved it, but he never should have left. A life in Fallon would have been modest, but he wouldn't have had to pawn his dreams for priorities. Simple, yeah. It would have been real fucking simple. Maybe beautifully so. Cattle punching or tending bar or settling into himself instead of losing his faith. He would have been that same photograph I cling to in my mind, that image with the eyes like brush steel and a voice that didn't doubt, like he was somewhere between Johnny Cash and Job, not the painfully average and unremarkably flawed man he grew into.
Fucking throwing your life away for no reason. None. Jesus Christ, why? Would you just, do you even know?
I know.
And you're still fucking going on, blaming other people for this shit like it's someone else's fault, like you don't have to take responsibility for your actions and what you've done with your life.
Well, maybe I'm not good enough for that.
You don't have to do this.
I used to think so too, but then it stopped scaring me and I wasn't sad about doing it. And when you reach that point, the idea of taking someone's life doesn't even cut through you anymore. You just realize it's what has to be done.
You still have a choice.
No, I don't. I'm almost there.
Please.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Dan, please. You have a choice. Dan, I love you.
I do have a choice. I have a choice of how I want to be remembered. I have a choice to end where I began in the middle of nowhere. This is an ending that I've written out. Every step brings the memories that I've rehearsed. Those times and places I can never be again, belonging to a man whose self passed him by. There's no fear though, or regret. There's only careful understanding of who Dan Curlock, of who I am. And I know what it all means, and I know, like most of you are never going to know. I know that when I pull this trigger, there'll be light and comfort, and I will fall.